Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Am I Liable Throwaway from the Legal Advice subreddit and says, while defending his sister, my son pushed an older bully, knocking out the bully's teeth. Am I liable for medical expenses and pain and suffering? New Mexico. This last weekend, my 9-year-old son was playing basketball with my 10-year-old daughter in the driveway. I was inside making their dinner. My son ran inside the house to use the bathroom, leaving his sister shooting hoops alone outside. One of the neighbor's boys, 12 years old, henceforth known as the bully, rode by on his bike with a couple of his friends and started teasing and hassling my daughter. He has done this many times before at their school and has been warned against it by the teachers. He has also come onto my driveway before calling my daughter dirty names and pushing her, and basically being a bully. I've caught him before and warned him away from my property. I even mentioned it to his parents at a recent school event, but they either didn't care or didn't believe me, or both. Back to the story. My son runs inside to use the bathroom, and my daughter stays outside playing. The bully comes on my driveway and starts calling my daughter names and pushing her, and actually punches her in the arm and chest. She tries to defend herself by pushing back, but she is very small for her age, and he is quite big for his. My son, who is also big for his 9 years, sees this as he comes back outside and runs at the bully and blindside pushes him, causing the bully to fall onto his bike. There is lots of blood coming from the bully's mouth. By this time, my daughter is screaming, my son is crying, and the bully is hovering between crying and getting angry, and I hear of all the commotion and I run outside. I ask what happened and I get two contradictory stories. The bully basically says he was hit by my son unprovoked, and my kids say otherwise. I tell the bully to stay there and I run inside to get a clean towel and some water to help clean him up. When I get back outside, he's gone. Home, presumably. I calm my kids down, clean them up and take them inside to eat. Afterwards, I review the security cam footage that is running 24/7 showing the front of the house and driveway. The video pretty much 100% confirms my kid's story. Last night, which is several days after the event, the bully's father knocks on my door and tells me that he had to take his son to the ER because his teeth were broken. And then later to the dentist. He wants me to pay all of these expenses plus $1,000 for pain and suffering. Otherwise, he's going to call the cops and press charges against my son for hitting his son and then sue me. I told him I had video of the event that showed his 12-year-old son on my property, despite being warned previously to not ever come back, pushing and hitting my daughter, who is younger and smaller than the bully, and my 9-year-old son running up to push the bully to stop him from hitting her. His son fell onto his bike, which was the cause of the broken teeth because of the push. I then told him to pound sand and to get off my property. Am I liable for covering this? I don't even want my homeowner's insurance to pay him anything, if that is even covered. My son is allowed to defend his sister who was being physically assaulted, right? All he tried to do was push his sister's attacker to stop him hitting her. My son won't get charged for this, will he? Should I call the police first? I assume he hasn't yet, as I haven't heard anything from them. And look, I don't know about really any legal stuff. All I can talk about is from previous experience of reading stories like this. And I've seen, again, I don't really know, law tends to side with defending others, especially family members from assault. Your son was just protecting his sister from an attack that was ongoing, a physical attack that was ongoing from someone who seems to have a history of bullying as well. And look, I get no pleasure from hearing kids getting hurt in this way, but actions have consequences. He's bullying someone else and he's just received some consequences of that. Whether that be a learning moment for him or not, I doubt it, but I don't blame your son one bit from protecting his sister. I'd imagine that father is bluffing about pressing charges since, you know, his son was the aggressor in this. But Kelv says, to me it sounds like defense of others. Your son used reasonable force, a push, to defend his sister from a similar level of force being used on her. I wouldn't pay. If it were me, I would actually report the bully for battery and trespass. And also the parents' demands amount to criminal extortion, so you can feel free to report that to the police as well. The fact that the bully fell on his bike and was seriously injured is too bad, so sad from a criminal point of view. Maybe someone can enlighten from a tort point of view. Edit NM criminal extortion, then shares a link. Opie replied saying, "Thank you for such a quick reply. When the kids get home from school today, I call the police and report the bully. I'm tired of him coming onto our driveway and calling my daughter foul names and hitting her. Since talking to his parents in the past, has done nothing. Our security cams record audio as well. It doesn't capture the names that the bully was calling my daughter while he was pushing and hitting her, but it did capture the father's discussion with me last night. I guess I will show the police that video also." He says, "I don't think that the father has met the requirements for criminal extortion since he pretty clearly can reasonably believe that his son is the victim of a crime. He's not, but that doesn't change anything here." Kelv replied saying, "Depends on more than we know here. He was told there was video. If he backs off, then it's not extortion. If he continues, especially after being given a copy of the video, then it's extortion. Either way, it's enough just at this point to include it in the report." Opie says, "I did not show him the video. I just told him that I had video of the event and then told him to get off my property. As he left, he said he was going to get my son arrested for assault, unless I paid his expenses and pain and suffering. He was going to give me his bills from the ER and dentist." Opie then adds about past instances of the bully and when told to tell the school. Opie says, "I'm calling the police today. I didn't think about calling the school. The principal and teachers didn't do much when I talked to them about the constant foul verbal abuse he was directing at my daughter. I'm not a helicopter parent, but when it didn't go away when I told my daughter to ignore it and then progressed to him following my daughter home and continuing that verbal harassment as she walked home onto our property. I spoke to the principal and later to his parents at a school event a few weeks ago. The teachers just told the bully to stop, which clearly didn't work, and the parents basically called me a liar. I'm worried that based on their previous actions, the school would blame my son, who is at that same school, but several grades below the bully." Someone also suggested to Opie not to call the police and just see what happens, and Opie says, "Between this morning and now, I called the wife of an old family friend who used to work as a legal secretary before she got married and had kids, and grandkids. She agreed with you 100%. She said that since it's been nearly a week since the event occurred, it's very unlikely the father will call the cops at all. She also said that legally speaking there is no upside to me calling the cops myself, as they are never going to arrest my 9-year-old son. And she laughed, literally, about the father being successfully prosecuted for extortion, since the cops haven't already come to speak to me, and I have not been served with a lawsuit yet. There's absolutely nothing to worry about at this time, and likely not ever. If I do get served, she said to call my insurance, show them the videos, and let them worry about it, as that is why I pay them money. I guess you're right. Like you, she has no fear of this kind of stuff. She said to hold on to the video, but to otherwise do nothing. Don't worry about it at all, and to just move on. I've decided to do nothing. I'm not going to call the cops. I'm not going to tell the school anything unless the bullying continues. But as of right now, the bully has said not a word to my daughter." So it was 18 months after this that Opie came in again with an update and said the incident happened a while ago, but the resolution only occurred about a month ago. I received a lot of advice to go to the police and a lot to not go to the police. In the end, I listened to my family friend and those here who said not to go to the cops. The cops in my town are known to be very sketchy anyway. I refused to pay the father any money for his medical expenses, for his son's medical expenses, and ignored the certified letter he sent me demanding payment. As far as I know, he did not sue me. I did decide to go to the principal and complain again about the constant bullying and showed her the video of the incident. She made sympathetic comments and said she would investigate, but I could tell she just wanted me out of her office. She said that she couldn't do anything that occurred away from the school, and said she would talk to the bully and his teachers and deal with him appropriately. She spoke to my daughter and the bully, and then nothing happened. I spoke to the teacher, and she told me that the principal doesn't do discipline well and only cares about district politics. To be honest, I didn't care because the bully stopped picking on my daughter and moved on to another victim. I felt bad, but what could I do? A few days after I went to the principal, the cops showed up at my house to speak to me and the kids about the incident. I refused to let them in the house or to answer their questions, but I did offer to email the cop the videos of the incident, and the father's threat to pay the medical bills or else he'd call the cops. I never heard back from them. Since then, my daughter and bully both started middle school. Unfortunately, the principal was promoted to be the principal of the middle school and transferred when my kids did. It turns out the latest victim of the bully was another girl who had no older siblings or younger brothers. It was not generally known, but it also turns out that she was the granddaughter of the principal. I knew because I knew the principal's daughter-in-law, the mother of the latest victim. I don't know all the details, but it seems that since the bullying involved her granddaughter, much more stringent discipline was available. The bully was suspended from school and transferred to a school in the district for problem kids, so he is now another school's problem. I guess if my daughter had been related to the principal, that could have happened over a year ago. It just shows that it's all about who you know. In case you're interested, my daughter and son have both started Taekwondo, and they absolutely love it. And I'm so glad to hear that OP's children are doing much better. But it's so incredibly frustrating that it was only when it was the principal's own granddaughter being bullied that they suddenly decided to do something. And I always find it frustrating the way the bully can get away with it for such a long amount of time, damage multiple people, and have it excused by schools. You know, I'm from the UK. I'm not sure how it works, but I've seen similar situations myself. Obviously not all schools, but only from personal experience. Myself, like I've mentioned before in previous videos, was bullied, and when it eventually came out because one of my friends reported it to their mum, who then got in contact with the school because at the time I didn't want to talk about it, etc., because I was afraid of repercussions. I was called into the principal or the head teacher's office, and I was sat there, and they basically told me how the bully has a hard home life, that the teachers will try and keep an eye out in those classes, which never happened, but we have to kind of give him some leeway. I can remember leaving that office that day just feeling like absolute shit. You know, at the time, because it was already going on, I was already in a really dark place, and, you know, it was awful. And I still see it to this day. Obviously, again, not all schools, but some are absolutely have broken discipline systems. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Mobile Meal 1509 and says, "Am I the arsehole here? Sister is mad that I have no reaction to her talking to my ex-girlfriend. My sister recently told me she's been getting coffee regularly with an ex-girlfriend who broke up with me way back in 2005. She hid it from me for over 2 months, and then when she eventually told me and asked me if I was okay with it, I had no visible reaction and asked her what she wanted from me. This ex and I dated from 1999 to 2005, from the ages of 14 to 20. She was cheating on me for the last 2 years and left me for the guy. It was 20 years ago. I'm 40 now. I was heartbroken but dealt with it and moved on. I have a wife I've been married to for 12 years. I'm a dad to 3 kids. Why would I care about someone from 20 years ago? My sister is frustrated because I have no reaction. She wants to know I'm okay with it or not. They were good friends back then, but stopped talking when the breakup happened. But she says all that time hasn't passed. I guess she wants my approval. Like I said, I literally don't care. If she wants to talk to her, that's fine, but I won't be interested. It's her life. She can talk to who she wants. ETA, my sister also felt as betrayed as I did about the cheating, hence why they stopped talking. But again, the whole affair was 20 years ago, and I dealt with the hurt and have moved on from it. I genuinely don't feel weird if my sister is talking to her again." Top commenter says, "Not the arsehole. It was 20 years ago, and you've more than moved on. I actually think you're being quite mature, and having no reaction would be a normal response to hearing about someone you haven't seen or heard from in 20 years. Maybe your sister feels guilty for talking to her again because of the cheating." Opie says, "I can see why she may feel guilty because she was swiftly on my side and felt extremely hurt and betrayed too. But again, it was a very long time ago, and I literally don't care who she talks to, as it's not like it just happened." Commenter says, "How did they start talking again if they haven't seen each other in so long?" Opie says, "She said apparently she was out getting stuff for my nieces when she bumped into my ex by chance. They talked for a bit, ended up exchanging numbers. I've been talking most days, doing a lot of catch up, and I've been getting coffee at least once a week now. Commenter says, not the arsehole, just tell her that you're fine with it, full stop. Why exactly did she get mad at you for not showing a reaction? Opie says, I honestly don't know. And the final commenter says, not the arsehole. You've maturely moved on and made peace with how your relationship ended. You don't want to get involved either way, and rightfully so, therefore it's not for you to give or withhold permission. If she continues to push you for an answer, tell her that you don't care either way, but what your boundaries may be regarding the relationship. Example, you don't care and don't want to hear about it, don't want her brought around your children and wife, etc. Might be best to loop your wife in just so she is aware and not caught out if your sister brings your ex somewhere. So we're all left at this moment wondering why. Why did she get mad at OP? I mean, it's been 20 years. I totally get where OP is coming from. Who gives a shit, right? But the update says, I posted yesterday that for the past couple of months, my sister has been talking and regularly meeting up for coffee with my ex-girlfriend. We broke up 20 years ago because she left me for another man, and I am now 40. Quite happily married and a dad, and had no reaction because I literally don't care about the past or what my sister does. I realized I had never given my sister an exact answer, just that I had no visible reaction, just that I asked her what she wanted from me, and she was frustrated over it. I ended up calling her not that long ago when we talked about it. I asked why she felt so strongly about wanting to know my feelings about it, and a lot of you suspected she wanted approval, and you were right. I explained in my original post that my sister and ex were quite good friends, and that the friendship ended because I got cheated on, and my sister also felt betrayed. The two hadn't spoken in 20 years. When my sister and my ex were friends, they did a lot with me and together. They did a lot together and were almost like best friends. And my sister told me that, of course, she was pissed and felt betrayed about the cheating, but also sad because she lost her only genuine friend at the time. I know she has really struggled to maintain good friendships, so she said that when she happened to bump into my ex by chance and that they picked up where they left from, she leapt at the chance to kickstart their friendship. She said it's been like a fog has been lifted from her and she feels like she has her best friend back. She said she wanted to tell me but thought I'd be weird about it because at the time was so cut up about the breakup. She feels really guilty for being happy about rekindling a friendship with someone who caused me so much pain. After hearing all that, I understand why she wants to maintain the friendship and why she didn't want to tell me. I explicitly told her I have no reaction to it because, without sounding like a dick, I really don't care who she spends her time with. I told her I feel enough time has passed that I can accept my ex in her life, especially since my sister told me she's still with the man she left me for, and that they are married and have a family, so they are obviously serious. She also said that her daughters, my nieces, are the same age as my ex's kids, and that it'd be good for the kids to be friends too, which I get as they don't have many. Like I said, I've also moved on and have been married for 12 years and I have 3 kids. I basically told my sister if she's looking for my blessing, she has it, but I won't be involved or really interested in the friendship because it doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I also told her she shouldn't feel guilty as it's happened, it's done, and I moved on and recovered from it. Like if I saw the ex, I would be civil, but I wouldn't be weird or anything about it because again, I don't really care. Plus from the sounds of it, the ex will really only be mingling with my sister, potentially my brother-in-law and their kids, so I may not see her at all. She left the call feeling at least happier, and I'm just glad she has a friend back, I suppose. Not an exciting update or anything, but I guess a good outcome. We were just mature and civilized. Commenter says, I was hoping you'd update. We exchanged a couple of comments and I did wonder if she felt guilty because you were cheated on, and I guess it was right. I'm glad you two are mature enough to talk about it and that there are no issues. Opie says, well, my sister is happy and it's out in the open now, so that's all that matters, I suppose. Another commenter says, advice, your sister already mentioning your ex's kids and yours should be friends? Huh? Full stop. You need to follow up with her. It's a huge red flag, especially if she gets your kids for a day with auntie and she sets up playdates behind your wife's back. You will effectively implode your wife and sister's relationship and put you squarely in the middle, as you rightfully should be, for not drawing respectful boundaries. Your sister mentioning this is her sharing her vision of bringing your ex in for the family to engage with. What's next, family barbecues? Just no. I guarantee she's already breached yours and your wife's privacy by catching your ex up on you and your wife's life. which should be regularly updating as life happens. Shut this down, and you'll need to put your sis in an information diet now about personal matters regarding you and your wife's personal matters, because best friends tell each other everything right. Also expect your sis to want you and ex to mend and become friends. Protect your peace and your wife's peace, but sure, your sis and her reunion is not a biggie otherwise. Sometimes Reddit is just too Reddit. OP replies to that and saying, my kids weren't mentioned at all. My sister's children and my ex's children can be friends, not mine. Commenter says, as long as none of them are expecting you to reconcile with your ex and have her at events with your partner and kids, seems fine. OP says, God no. My sister was only talking about that ex being involved in her life and potentially her kids being friends with the ex's kids. And last commenter asks, is the ex still with her affair partner? OP says yes, I believe they are now married with children. But now, I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly is absolutely amazing. I can never thank you enough for what you do. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.